Today is Sunday, April 18th. It's a beautiful day out, actually. It's a little bit after 12. And I was out pretty much the last hour or so. And I finished digging this corner here and this corner here. And I have one more corner over here to go. I didn't think people would be too interested in watching me dig a hole since little toad. I videoed the one yesterday, which was that one there. So I'm gonna do, I'll video me doing the last one on the corner for that corner now. Just I'm gonna try and make sure I'm in this shot. Each one of these actually represents the inside edge of the log. So, I'm sorry, the outside edge. Let's try this again. This is the inside of the log. Where these markers are is actually the outside edge of the logs. So each hole I dig where the logs go will actually be on the inside. And the same with these over here. These logs are going to wind up having to be moved, I'm afraid. Which I think I should be able to do that. Should be able to do that on my own. And this one, this hole here, you can see the way it lines up with that flag down there. And then the corner here over to this one over here. So when I pour the footers, they'll be on the inside because the log centers will actually be, the log centers will be right here. So the log will sit down on top with the outside edge over here. So with that said, and please excuse my lack of a shirt. I went from long pants, shirt and jacket to just a shirt and long pants to shorts and no shirt. So I just progressively worked down. It was pretty chilly this morning, but it warmed up pretty quick. So I'm kind of happy about that. I mean, this morning I was laying in bed on my cot, and I could see my breath. And that's something I'm not used to. I'm getting more used to it. But anyway, it doesn't make it conducive to just jump right out of bed and get to work. So I'm glad it's starting to warm up a little bit. So with that being said, I'll put this down, and you guys can watch me dig the last hole for the corner anyway. Each one of these actually represents 2 piers. Each hole represents 2 piers. I'm going to wind up expanding it however I need to fit. But there's going to be one there and then one here. And those will, obviously cover the corners. Yeah, I thought that would be better than trying to do separate piers. One on each side right next to each other, if I just make the hole bigger, and then run both the piers off the same slab, just make the slab bigger. It just seemed a little more efficient. So anyway. Now, putting that tape measure out and putting the board out just helps me keep the corners lined up in my mind, because the way this property lays this way and the logs being here, interfering with this last line on this side, it's hard for me to visualize at times how the footprint's going to be. So as long as I keep something out there, it helps me stay in line with the orientation of the footprint out here and not get too far off. See if I can find a better spot to put you. You're 100 miles away and I keep turning my back. Sorry. There we go. I think that's, again, excuse me. There we go. You're back. We'll try from this angle so I don't keep turning my back on you and you can probably see a little bit better. And hopefully we'll get this done pretty quick. I don't know how long that was. Anyway, hopefully you were able to see me just digging a hole. I don't know, excuse me, if I'm going to dig any more today or not. I don't want to burn myself out to the point that I can't function the next day. So sometimes if I go and do what I can, and then the next day I keep going and do what I can, instead of just burning myself out really hard on one day and being tied up or laid up for 2 or 3 days after that. I'm not into manual labor. It's not what I did. So this is a big change for me. My wife is excited. She's like, "You're going to lose weight." So I think I've started. But anyway, I'm going to stop this right now. I may dig another hole or not. I don't know. But, you know, you can only watch somebody dig a hole so much before you might as well just back up the video and watch it again. Same hole. So anyway, that's it for now. So today is April 19th. I don't remember what I left off with yesterday. I know I showed the 4 corners that I did, but the last thing I did was go over between on the 2 sides. You know, I have like my corner here. I went ahead, there's going to be a pier in the middle of each side, so I went ahead and dug the holes for that. And I don't know if I mentioned that at the end of the day or not. Really wasn't the end of the day, but I know I mentioned about, you know, making myself so sore I couldn't work the next day. So anyway, I did go ahead and do those other 2. And now I'm going to start doing the piers for the front and the back. I'm going to go ahead and start with the front just for simplistic reasons, because the back has the logs in the way. I think I'll be good. Again, I should be able to move them by hand if I have to, instead of waiting 4 days for somebody to show up and give me a hand with their tractor. Anyway, I'm going to get started with that and just give a quick update of where I am April 19th. And I'll show in a little while where I'm at as far as this goes. Well, I got the front of the cabin footers dug out here. If I have to move them, it'll be easier to move them a little bit one way or the other just by making the hole a little bit bigger and pushing it, than obviously trying to start and just dig the hole. So I measured and did my best with where I believe things are going to go. And if they have to be moved, they have to be moved, but you got to get it done. You got to start somewhere, and this is the point I'm at. So now I have both sides, well, the front and then that side as well. So I'm gonna stop now for lunch, get something to eat, and then come back, and I'd like to knock out the back of the cabin, get that done today. I think that would be a good day just to get those dug. There's one of these holes was actually pretty decent to dig. I think it was that one there. It was mostly dirt. The rest of them have been rock and dirt. I keep hoping to hit like a giant rock about a foot down. That's, you know, so I could just put the footer on that, and it's not going to go anywhere. But no luck. I have to just keep digging So fingers crossed, there's still more holes to go. We'll see. I'll remain optimistic. So it's a good bit later, and I went ahead and I dug the other holes, and then of course one had to be right underneath the corner of my log stack. I was able to move this log and this one out of the way. It's not perfect, but once I start moving some other things around, I didn't want to go too far, because when you start moving the logs, they want to shift, and I don't want to have them start moving on me where they wind up in a position I'm not ready to start using them yet, that I can't go ahead and pick them up and move them out of the way. So, and then I came over and I measured this hole, and I said, well, that's pretty close to that hole. And it didn't seem right, since there was a pretty big gap over here. So I pulled out the tape measure, and I think what happened is when I originally measured, originally measured this, I think the tape got caught on one of the logs and I didn't realize it. So it was off. My corner marker over here was off almost a foot. So I had to move the markers, realign them. So now I'm back to having square corners. And then the first hole I dug was this one. So I had to dig another hole over here. You know, I mentioned before about moving a hole. Well, I had hoped to just like cut one side a little bit this way or that way to make it easier. I didn't really want to have to dig a whole another hole, which amounted to pretty much what I did over here, because this hole had to be almost 100% not where the other one was. So they touched each other, but that was it. So that's it. The outside piers are done. One of the neighbors came over and chit-chatted for a while, so that kind of held back the digging. But regardless, the outside's done. I have a couple more piers I want to put in the middle, just for support. These logs, when they're wet, weigh pretty close to as much as a car. Right now, because they've been drying for a couple years since we bought them, and we've been working on them, getting them peeled, I can manhandle some of them. Like that one on the end over there, that smaller one right there, I was able to just slide it over. This one, I was able to slide it over. But there is some other ones that I've bought, another 15 that are over at the sawmill that will be coming over. And those you can't move when they're wet. You can't move them. So we'll deal with those when they get here. But I wanted to make sure that I had enough to do this. So anyway, that's where we're at today. I'm going to call it a day and go get cleaned up. It's been long. I think I got sunburned. I didn't intend to. But that'll make it interesting when I go down to the creek. All right.